Welcome back to day 5. Today you're going to get a break from word problems, and today we're actually going to go back to using a graph. So our goal for today, given a system of equations, you will be able to solve algebraically and graphically. So we haven't graphed in a little while. Remember, graphing, if we have a quadratic that looks like a parabola, a linear equation is a line, so you get those two solutions there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to solve algebraically, and then we're going to review how to solve graphically. So here are your steps. If possible, write both equations in standard notation. That's y equals. Okay, substitute the y values and set the equations equal to each other. Solve for x. Plug the x values into one of the original equations and find the y values. And rewrite the solutions as an ordered pair. All right, so let's go ahead and try that. So for number 1, we want to solve algebraically. So here we have two equations. Now, if I look carefully, I see that the first one is y equals, and this one, if x is squared, how many answers are there? There's 2 answers. All right, but now we're not going to set this one equal to 0 because this is a system of equations. So we are not just solving for x, we're solving for both x and y, and we can't do both at the same time. So what we're going to do is we have to use either substitution or elimination. So what I'm going to do, since the first one's already equal to y, is I'm going to put parentheses around this one, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to substitute it in for the y in the second equation. So instead of y, I'm going to substitute in x squared plus 2x plus 1 minus x is equal to 3. Okay, but now there's nothing I have to distribute, so I can just rewrite this without parentheses. Okay, and then I'm going to combine my like terms. I have a 2x and a negative x. So I get x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 3. So I'm solving for x first. And not only am I solving for x, but x is squared, so we're solving for 2 x's. So if you solve for 2 x's, now we're going to set it equal to 0, because then we can factor and solve. So we subtract 3, x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. So now I have to factor. So x, so two numbers that multiply to negative 2 and add to positive 1 would be positive 2, and negative 1. So now I set up my t. All right, and if x plus 2 is equal to 0, so x plus 2 equals 0, I transpose the 2, so I get x is equal to 2. And over here we get x minus 1 equals 0, so I add 1 to both sides and I get x is equal to 1. But now remember, this equation was not just about x's, it was about x's and y's. So now what we have to do is pick one of these equations and we have to plug it in. Oh, I forgot to put the negative there, negative 2. Okay, so we have to plug it in. I'm going to use the second equation. I like to use the linear equation because it's a little bit easier than having to square some of our terms. So I'm going to use that second equation there. So my second equation is y minus x equals 3. So I'm going to take the negative 2 and plug it in. So y minus negative 2 equals 3. So a negative negative becomes a positive. Okay, and then we have to subtract the 2 to the other side. And we end up with y is equal to 1. Okay, so that means this is the point, negative 2 comma 1. Okay, now let's do the same thing over here. So we're going to start with a linear equation. And now I'm going to substitute in my x value, which is a positive 1. And then we get y minus 1 equals 3. We're going to add 1. And we get y is equal to 4. So this side, for our second solution, we get 1 comma 4. Okay, so now we have both of our solutions. All right, now that we know how to solve algebraically, let's go take a look and review solving this graphically. So if we remember, this is our quadratic. This is going to be our parabola. And here, x is to the first power, which means this is going to be a line. Okay, so let's review how to graph. Well, let's go for the line first. Lines are pretty easy to draw. So remember, when we graph a line, we need to put it in y equals mx plus b form. And right now I have the y and the x on the same side. So I'm going to have to add the x to the other side. So we're going to get y is equal to x plus 3. So that means my y-intercept is 3, so I start at positive 3. And my slope is 1 over 1. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And I can go the opposite way, and that would keep all my points in a line. I'm going to draw that line and then label it at the edge. Y equals x plus 3. Okay, now for our parabola, okay, we don't know how to graph parabolas without the help of our handy dandy calculator and table of values. So the first thing we have to do is find the axis of symmetry. X equals negative b all over 2a. So let's go ahead and plug it in. So my a value is 1, my b value is 2, and my c value is 1. So this is going to become x is equal to negative 2 all over 2 times 1. So that gives me negative 2 over 2, which then gives me a negative 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my table of values, and I'm going to take negative 1 and put it right in the middle. And now I want to go 3 values below, and then I want to go 3 values above that vertex, that turning point. So now I'm going to go into my calculator, go to the y equals, and we're going to type in the equation. So x squared plus 2x plus 1. And then I'm going to go to my table of values, and I want negative 1 to be in the middle, and I want my top number to be negative 4. So then I can fill in 9410149, and I see I've got that nice symmetry, so the top number and the bottom number are exactly the same. Now I can go ahead and graph these. So negative 4, 9, well that's not going to fit, so that's okay. Negative 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then negative 2, 1, oh look at there. And then negative 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 4. And then I can graph my parabola. Goes down and then back up, and we always bring our arrows all the way to the top. So y is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now, how many solutions did we have? How many times did our parabola and our line intersect? Twice. And let's write down what are those points. Negative 2, 1, and 1, 4. Now let's check and take a look. Both of these questions were exactly the same, but we solved this one algebraically, this one graphically. Did we get the same answers at the end? So we have negative 2, 1, negative 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 4. All right, we did it. So no matter how you solve, you get the same solutions. All right, I do want to practice a special case of solving algebraically, so let's go ahead and flip over to the back. Okay, we're going to take a look at question number 3 here. All right, so question 3, we have x squared plus y squared equals 100. And then we have y equals x plus 2. So, since we have a system, it has x's and y's, but we can only solve for one at a time. So I can see that this one down here, the second equation is already y equals. So I'm going to take parentheses, put them around it, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to substitute it in for the y above. So this is going to give me x squared plus x plus 2 squared equals 100. Now, x plus 2 squared, we have to simplify that. So remember, when parentheses are squared, what do we have to do? We have to do our long distribution. We have to write it out twice. So I'm going to go off to the side here and do x plus 2 times x plus 2, and then do my long distribution, or you can use the multiplication box method if you'd like. So we're going to get x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. So this gives us x squared plus 4x plus 4. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to plug it in here. So x squared plus x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 100. So now if I add these together, x squared plus x squared is 2x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 100. All right, but now my x is being squared, which means there's two answers. We set the whole thing equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 100. So we're going to end up where with 2x squared plus 4x minus 96 equals 0. Now we have to factor. Remember your methods of factoring. What's the first method you always try? G, C, F. And let's take a look. 2, 4, 96, they're all even numbers. They're all divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide out a 2 from all of these and put it on the outside. So that gives me x squared plus 2x minus 48 is equal to 0. That's a little bit more manageable this time. So now we can factor it up. So we're going to get x and x plus 8 minus 6. Now the 2 in the front does not have an x with it. So when I tee it up, we're only going to have two answers. That 2 really kind of just fades away. It doesn't do anything because there's no x with it. So here, x plus 8, if x plus 8, then x is equal to negative 8. If it's x minus 6, we get x equals positive 6. Now that we found our x's, we still have to find the y's. I'm going to use the linear equation. All right, so y equals x plus 2. So I'm going to substitute in the negative 8. So y is equal to negative 6. So my point here is going to be negative 8 comma negative 6. Now let's do the same thing for the second solution. Oops. So y equals x plus 2. So y equals 6 plus 2. So y is equal to 8. So this solution would be 6 comma 8. And those would be our two answers. All right, I'm going to have us go ahead and we're going to skip number 4 because what I'd like you to do instead is to try the 2 questions on the next page. So for video 5. So go ahead, complete these 2 questions, and you're going to turn them in at the beginning of class tomorrow. Have an excellent night, everyone.